welcome everyone. I'm really happy to see you again, hopefully, because this is our second workshop. The first one was organized in December. It was a workshop that covered how to create a smart order router. Today we're going to discuss, to talk about how to create your market maker bots on GNCL's DEX. This is a part of our mission to be the Cardano community DEX. So basically, we want to create the DEX with you, with the community, with the Cardano community. We invite you to co-create the whole environment. So this is part of the series that aims to educate everyone that would like to co-create the sphere and the ecosystem. So today, as you can see, we have Dr. Lars, our CTO. We also have Attila, our senior software engineer, and also Sourabh, our great Haskell developer. This session is planned to last about 1 hour, more or less 1 hour, and then we're going to have a Q&A session. As a recently kind request, to focus your question on market makerbots topic. If you would like to ask more general questions about GNCL project and the future, then I would like to invite you to Monday, 15th. We are co-organizing really great Ask Me Anything session with Cardano Spot. So please make sure that you follow our social media channels and Cardano Spot social media channels, because this is where we're going to post more details about this AMA session. But today, as mentioned, we're focusing on market maker bots. So yeah, Lars, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction, and thanks everyone for your interest in the topic and for attending this workshop. So let me start by briefly explaining what market maker bots are. So as you probably know, Genius Yield is a fully decentralized permissionless DEX. So we have a very nice UI which we run, but in principle, everybody can place orders, cancel orders, fill orders on the DEX directly, just interacting with the blockchain. And because we are an order book-based DEX, we need a mechanism if there are like several limit orders, to execute those trades. And that mechanism is our SORs, our smart order routers. So we open sourced the code for those months ago and encourage everyone to run such an SOR. And the SORs, we had a workshop about those some weeks ago before Christmas. Those job is to fill, to find like matching limit orders and fill them. So use one to fill the other and vice versa. And these SORs can make a profit on the arbitrage if there's a bid-ask spread, if the prices are different. So running an SOR is like essential for the DEX to function. And it's completely riskless because these SORs only make a trade if they can actually make a profit. And all they do is fill existing orders. So now the market maker bots use a very similar technology. So they also use the same API to interact with our DEX. But in contrast to SORs, their job is not to fill existing orders, but to place new orders to bring liquidity to the DEX. So in other DEXs that are based on the AMA model, providing liquidity is relatively easy because you just put some tokens into one of the existing liquidity pools. It is, however, not very lucrative. So these DEXs normally have to heavily subsidize these liquidity pools. There's this problem with impermanent loss and so on. So it's easy to use, but it's not very effective. So order book DEX like ours has potential to be much more efficient, but unfortunately, that on the flip side of that, it means that it's not so intuitive and easy to do this, because it's not enough to just put money into a pool and forget about it. You have to basically actively manage it. It's very similar to traditional exchanges or traditional stock markets, where I mean, you do get market makers and they make a nice profit on market making, but it's not for the faint at heart. I mean, you have to like know what you're doing. You have to actively manage your prices and so on. And it's similar, but we with our DEX. But we try to make it as easy as possible. So it's already possible, as we will demonstrate in this workshop. And we will continue to make it easier and easier for people. So if you find it a bit complicated right now, then rest assured that we will do our best to make it as easy as possible to do these things. But it's important to say that in contrast to the SORs, market making on the one hand has a much higher potential for profit, but it also is not risk-free because you're placing orders, and if you place them at like wrong prices or suboptimal prices, then you can lose a lot of money very quickly. But of course, you can also make a lot of money very quickly. So it's like high risk, high rewards thing. And right, and as I said, technically, it's very similar to an SOR, but where the SOR basically looks at the situation on the DEX, finds matching orders and matches them, and pockets the arbitrage. Market maker board places orders and cancels orders. It doesn't fill them. That being said, there's nothing to stop you from like creating like a mixture of the two. I mean, there's no reason why you wouldn't combine the two functionalities and have one board that does everything: place orders, cancel orders, and fill orders. Why not? But at the moment, the incarnation of the market maker bot we have at the moment just places and cancels. Okay, and we open source the repo that has like this first version of our market maker bots that we incidentally also run ourselves to provide liquidity for some token pairs on our deck. So let me sorry, let me just try to share my screen. Okay. Right. So can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Great. So this works this time. Nice. Making progress here. Okay, so this is the repo. It's the Genius Yield organization. It's called Market Maker, and it's open source, so it's public. And there's a nice and quite long README which explains how to configure it and how to run it and what all the parameters mean. And as I said, we are continually improving that, so we will like try making this more and more understandable. But I think it's already quite nice. And similar to the SORs, there are various ways of deploying and running this. And similar to the SORs, there's also a Docker image. So you can, so that's probably the easiest way with Docker Compose. So it's just a handful of commands you have to issue to get one up and running. But being old school, and I just want to do it manually. So I go in the repository, build the code, and then run it. But the easiest way to get started is just to use the Docker Compose. Okay, and so let me try to demonstrate what you have to do if you want to start a market maker bot this way with building it yourself. So let me switch. So I cloned the repository, and I'm now in the folder. So I hope that's visible. It's not too small. So first you have to build it, and because there are several packages in this repo, you can't just do cabal build. So you have to do cabal build genius yield minus market minus maker minus excel. And when I do that now, it's instantaneous because I have built it before and haven't changed anything. Of course, in your case, you have to download all the dependencies and compile them and so on. So it can take a while. Right. So then in order to actually run it, it's cabal run genius yield market maker. The same name. And if you just run it like this, then you get a short explanation what you have to do. So you have to provide 3 arguments, one to run or cancel. So running is the normal mode of operation where the bot just continuously places and cancels orders. Cancel is to cancel all the orders you have. I mean, be it because you want to pocket your profit, or be it because the strategy you are using is not ideal and you see you're losing money, so you want to pull a stop. Then the second argument is and Atlas config file, so that tells the bot how to communicate with the blockchain. There are various options, so you can use Blockfrost, you can use Maestro, or you can use a local node in connection with Kupo, I believe. And finally, there is a config file specific to the market maker bot. So let's, I mean, this is like standard, so I have one. And let's look at this one briefly. Don't want to explain all the options, but maybe at least some of them. So there's, this is part of the repo already. This is a sample file. So, I mean, the bot does stuff on the blockchain. It's not just observing, it's actually doing things. So like an SOR, it needs the ability to sign transactions. So it needs a key pair. So the first thing you have to do is create a new key pair, or use an existing one if you must, and put that somewhere. And so this first argument here is the path to that private key. Then ideally you provide some collateral to your bot, even though I think that's optional, but I think it's recommended. So you need to send 5 ADA to the bot address and then put the TXO the reference of this UTXO here. Now we have this feature that, I mean, the bot potentially holds a lot of ADA depending on how much money you entrust the bot. And our DEX has this nice feature, which I believe is quite unique among DEXs, that while your ADA are in open order on our DEX, you can still earn staking rewards. So we make use of this nice feature on Cardano, that an address on Cardano has 2 parts, a payment part and a staking part. And the staking part is optional. So in our case, for an order on our DEX, the payment part will be our order smart contract. But the staking part is your staking key. So if you place an order, then you send it to the same address as everyone else. You send it like to a personal address. Of course, the payment behavior is governed by the smart contract of our DEX, but the staking key is yours. That means while ADA are in open order on our DEX, you continue earning the usual ADA staking rewards. And we did the same for the bot. I mean, because the bot, of course, I mean, the funds of the bot are at 2 places. I mean, they can be in the bot wallet, so to speak, at the bot address, just lying there waiting to be deployed, or they can be in open orders. So if some ADA and open orders I just explained, it anyway gives you staking rewards for the ADA. And we also have, if it's in the wallet of the bot, you will also get staking rewards. So you don't have to, if you have a lot of ADA, you don't have to make the painful decision whether you rather want to delegate them and earn staking rewards or use them on our DEX. You don't have to decide because you continue making staking rewards on the DEX. But that's optional. And in this demo, I don't bother with this. So I just remove that. Okay, then the next part is you can just leave it as is. So there are 2 versions of these config files, sample config files, one for the pre-prod testnet that I'm using now, and one for the mainnet. So these things here will be different for the mainnet, of course. So that's like configuration for the DEX, for our DEX. Then there are bot-specific configurations. So as I said, I don't want to go into all of them, but here you need a Maestro token. But the reason for that is, I mean, you might wonder why, because I said earlier that there are 2 ways to communicate with the blockchain, Blockfrost, Maestro, or local node. So why do we specifically need a Maestro token here? And that is because the bot needs price information. I mean, it must know what the market price is. And in this version of the bot, we are using the Maestro Markets API for that, where you can, for a couple of DEXs, including MinSwap and Genius Yield, and maybe others, I'm not sure, can like trade data from past trades. So at the moment we're using that, but it would be an easy exercise if you know Haskell to replace that and replace it with your own price oracle. So the point of this is just to get market prices from somewhere. And this just says, I mean, how often, I mean, this is specific to this Maestro SDK. There you can give a granularity. So this, I think, means it bundles 15 minutes worth of trades to determine the price. And you can specify so at the moment here, this is set to our DEX. Seeing as there's not a lot of traffic on our DEX at the moment, it's probably better to use something else like MinSwap. And you can give the trading pair on that DEX you choose. So for example, on MinSwap, there's the ADA Gens pair. So that would be the one that you use to get price information. This is just, I mean, the bot at the moment at least only handles one token pair. So ADA and something else like ADA and Gens or ADA and Gens X. So if you want to do more token pairs, you simply have to deploy several bots. And of course, you could change this and do whatever you like. But just for like sorry for the terms we use are just, that's also explained in the README. We call ADA the currency and the other token the commodity. So if it's ADA Gens, then ADA would be currency, Gens would be commodity. And you just have to specify here which of the two is the currency and which is the commodity, so that you don't, get the price the right way around. And then this is like specifics for the strategy. So at the moment, this bot uses a very simple strategy in principle. So it gets the current market price from somewhere from this configured price oracle, and then spreads buy and sell orders around the current market price at a certain spread. So the idea is to make a profit by selling a bit higher than the market price and buying a bit, or the other. You sell the token at a somewhat higher price and you buy it back at a somewhat lower price. So each time, basically, you do this round trip, you make a small profit. And how exactly you configure that, of course, is like the art of market making. So if you make it too big, your profit potentially would be much higher because the spread is bigger, but then maybe you get less people that actually go for it because there are better offers. If on the other hand, you make it too small, then you probably get more trades, but then the risk is that the market price changes and then your prices sit at wrong points. And then there are some configurations. So, the bot could, for example, how much volume should the bot place? How much money should the bot have at least, and so on. Right, and this is the token the bot is actually trading. So the commodity token. So I think this is Gens at the moment in this example.
Yeah, I think so.
Right. Okay, and in order to demonstrate that, so I don't want to share my actual file now here on screen share because of this token here. Don't really want to reveal that. Although it wouldn't be the end of the world, I suppose. But anyway, so in order to demonstrate this, first of all, we want to do it on the testnet. Because as I said, this is really like risky. Potentially also very rewarding, but also potentially risky. So in this demo, I don't want to use real money, so I want to do it on the testnet. And on the testnet, because Gens and Gens X, I think, are quite active on the testnet. So I don't want to mess with that. I would rather use a token that's not used much. So some months ago, to try something out, we minted this fake, or not fake, but a token that's, a worthless token that we call CRU, Crypto Unicorn. So I want to use this Crypto Unicorn token, but I will still use the price oracle for Gens. So I basically pretend that the CRU token is Gens as far as price is concerned, but I'm actually using not Gens or test Gens, but this different token. Okay, so far so good. And let me see. Sorry, right. So this is, I mean, after I created the private key pair, I get the resulting address, and that's the address of the bot I created. Let me just refresh, just in case. So there are roughly 15,000 test ADA, and I have, I mean, 15 billion of these crypto unicorns, but actually, let's pretend that the decimals of this thing are also 6. So it would be like 15,000, which brings me to the point. I mean, it's 15,000, 15,000. I just did it equally, but that's not a requirement for the market maker bots. I mean, that's one nice, I mean, I earlier said that it's unfortunately a bit more complicated to provide liquidity on DEX than on AMA DEXs. But on the other hand, I mean, that also has advantages. On AMA DEX, you have to, if you want to provide liquidity, you have to provide both tokens of a pair in the right proportion according to the current price of the token. So you can't just provide ADA or just gens. You have to have ADA and gens, and in the right mixture, put them into this pool. I mean, the bot can do whatever it likes, right? You don't need both tokens. You could start just with ADA or just with the token you want to trade. Obviously, then I mean, if you don't have both, then you can't place buy and sell orders, but you can place one of the two. And then, I mean, if people actually fill your orders that you place, then you get the other token, and then you can do both. So you're very flexible in that regard. I mean, what's this? With great power comes great responsibility. So on the one hand, it's the hurdle of entrance is higher to do market making our DEX, but you are also much more flexible, and you can do many more interesting things. I mean, you can come up with all sorts of strategies and whatever you can imagine you can do. Because, I mean, a liquidity pool on AMA DEX just can do one thing, and everybody does the same thing. So you have no advantage over other liquidity providers on AMA DEX. Whereas here, I mean, your own imagination is the limit. So if you come up with a very interesting, good strategy, then you can potentially outshine everybody else. Right. So the bot is funded, and now I can actually, and let's look at so this is now our DEX, but the test version. So it's at testnet.geniusyield.com, and I'm at this token pair here. So CIU crypto unicorn, but as I said, I pretend that is gens. So I am using the price information from gens, and we see that there are already some orders here. So 6 orders, 3 buy orders, 3 sell orders. So now let's start this thing. As I said, I just slightly modified. I put the path to my private key in there. I put my Maestro token in there, and I put this crypto unicorn token in there. But apart from that, I left all the parameters as they are in the example file. Okay, so now, I run it with the 3, sorry, this is the cancel. I run it with run. That's the normal mode of operation. Then the second argument is the path to my config file to Dogforce key or Maestro key. And the third one is this bot specific config I just showed you. And now hopefully this will work. And I mean, it takes a bit. So this is the bot address. That's the address I showed you earlier in the Explorer, right? And now it does its thing. So it checks the blockchain. And now we have to wait a bit. I think it only does, I mean, that's configurable, but at the moment, I think it's configured to spring into action every 2 minutes or so. So we might have to wait a couple of seconds until something interesting happens. And so let's do that. And then once that happens, we would see log output of the orders it places, the orders it cancels, and some statistics about how much money it has in the wallet, how much money it has placed in orders, and so on. We're actually also working on a nice graphical tool to monitor these bots. I mean, it's maybe not ready to share yet, but it looks quite promising. make it easier for you or anybody that wants to run one of those to see how it's doing. Okay, now let's hope it will do something soon. But I tried it before this workshop and it was actually working nicely. So let's hope it's working again.
Yeah, the reason why it's taking this much time is because it's querying all the UTXOs at this payment credential, and we have many UTXOs in our testnet. So yeah.
I see, but does it always take that much time? Every 2 minutes it has to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, this part, it will query the UTXOs, build the strategy and everything, and then once it is done, it will then take 2 minutes for the next loop.
Right, and then it will again have to query all the UTXOs.
Yes, exactly. And
Right.
but the thing is, it is because we're using the remote provider. If we were to instead use a local node, then it would be very quick.
Right. Yes, good point. So for this workshop, okay, now something's happening. So for this workshop, I wanted to like not have to rely on my own laptop. Oh yeah, but that anyway, I have been asked a couple of times what the hardware requirements are, and I think they are very low. I mean, we haven't like officially tested it yet, but I would dare say that it's like probably possible to run it on a Raspberry Pi or something. So it's not very computation heavy or anything. I mean, it should be, hardware shouldn't be an issue to run these things. Okay, let's see whether we.
Meanwhile, we have already published some minimal system requirements on Discord.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's already available in the README, but I'm gonna check it and add it if it's not there yet. And as you said, if you're using a remote provider, then the minimal system requirements are quite low. But as soon as you decide to run your own Cardano node, then of course you have much higher system requirements, especially for the mainnet Cardano node.
Of course. Thank you, Attila. That's very helpful. Right. So we see here, for example, that it got this price information. So as I said, it's now configured to get the price information for gens, not for this crypto unicorn. We just pretend that the crypto unicorn is gens. So it seems the price it got was 33 ADA per gens. Then it does things. Okay, so here it says, for example, equity on order 0. So at the moment, because I just started it, no orders have been placed yet. And it has, okay, 20,000 ADAs. Okay, that is, I think that's a combination. I mean, we saw earlier it's 15,000 ADA and 15,000 crypto unicorns, but this is now using that price. So it's 15,000 ADA plus 15,000 crypto unicorns times the price of 0.33, which gives you roughly 20,000. That's where this 20,000 comes from, just to make it easier to compare. And we see a total equity, so that's the sum of things in open orders and in the wallet, but because there were no open orders yet, it's of course the same figure as this. And then it decides what to do. And this is a summary here. So it's placing sell buy orders. I mean, let's see. So it's selling Loveless means it buys crypto unicorn 3 times and it sells crypto unicorn 3 times. And I suppose it won't cancel anything because there's nothing to cancel yet. And these are the transactions that actually place these orders. So let's switch back to my browser, to the Genius Yield thing. Okay, I don't see these yet, but we see here are now 2 new ones. I mean, there's always obviously a lag. So now there are these. I think those are the ones I placed just now, the bot placed.
Yes.
I'm not sure why I don't see any on this side. Maybe it just takes a while.
Yeah, it's placing the transactions one by one. So it placed these below buy orders, and now it will switch to place also these sell orders.
Right. I think in a prior version of the bot, we tried to place these transactions in the same block.
Yes, exactly. We were using parallel transaction building there. But
yes, but that makes it a bit tricky to keep track of the bot, of the wallet UTXOs and so on. So now this is more robust. albeit a bit slower to place them one by one. So that means if we wait 20 seconds or so, then the other ones should, the buy orders should, or sell, I never know which is which. So I shouldn't really give financial advice. Anyway, so they should start appearing here soon. I think we at the yeah, that is the first one. So at the moment we don't run SORs on the testnet for this token pair. That means under normal circumstances, nobody should like interfere with these, mess with these. But of course, it's a public blockchain, so any of you or anybody could, in principle, now fill these orders. Right. So now it will take a while until all three are there, and in the meantime, the bot is like plugging along. So it's still busy placing these. And once it has placed those, it will wait for 2 minutes, I think. But as I said, that's configurable. And then it will rinse and repeat. So it will, I mean, at each cycle, so it starts by getting the price information. Then it, depending on the strategy, decides whether to place orders or cancel orders or do both. I mean, maybe cancel some existing orders because the price has shifted, place new ones. And it will do that forever until you stop it or it runs out of money. Yeah, basically until you stop it or it runs out of money. Okay, so now I think it placed. Okay, now we have 2 of these here already. Okay, and that's basically it. I mean, this is, of course, just the, so we can just, if you want, right, so now it placed those 3. So now it should be done with this, right? So here in the log file, you see done for the block. So now I think it will sleep for 2 minutes, and then it will do the same again, get the price, analyze the situation on the blockchain, and act accordingly by either placing more orders or cancel existing one or doing both, and do that forever. Okay, so I don't know, we can try out the cancel as well if you like. So I can stop this now with Control-C and run the same command with the same parameters, the same arguments, but cancel instead of run. If I do that, then we need to be patient again for the same reason Sourabh explained, because now I'm using this remote provider, so it takes a while to get all the DEX information into this program, and then it will cancel. And I think the cancellation is not one by one. It tries to cancel as many as it can in one transaction, right?
Yes, exactly. It is doing it in the chunks of 6. So 6 transactions would, I mean, 6 orders would be cancelled in a single transaction.
Right, exactly. So maybe while we wait for that, we can have a brief look at the code. So I'm afraid I don't have much time to go into details very much here. But so actually the most interesting part, sorry, is here. So in the Initiate Market Maker folder, here's the, sorry. Okay, this is the main executable. So which just gives this merit message, and then here branches depending on whether you want to run or cancel. But the heart, the logic is in the strategies file. And at the moment there is just this one strategy implemented that I explained. So placing orders like around the market price, I think it equal, so the size of the spread is configurable, and then places above and below, buy orders and sell orders, and just does that over and over again. And I mean, it's not too bad. And I mean, a lot of that is like helper functions that you could also reuse in your own strategies. I mean, of course, the easiest way to get started would be to just use this strategy with your own parameters. So for the spread, for example, use 3% or 5% or 1% or play with that. Of course, probably if you really get into it and take it very seriously, then you would probably want to come up with more complicated strategies, and then you would have to actually code. Speaking of which, Sourabh had a very good idea just now, I mean, before the workshop. I mean, this is Haskell, obviously. And at the moment, if you want to do anything, I mean, if you significantly want to change the strategy, not just change parameters, you would need to actually modify the Haskell code. But in principle, there's nothing stopping us from making these endpoints. I mean, at the moment, we have this run and cancel to run the bot and to cancel all the orders. But I think it would be easy to introduce a third one, something like serve, where it just runs a local server that allows you to, with simple REST requests, to place orders and cancel orders and get some information. And then you could use anything like Python or TypeScript or whatever to control the bot. So probably, I mean, we haven't discussed it yet. The idea just came up, but it's certainly possible to also for people that are not familiar or comfortable with Haskell to make this easier to come up with their own bot strategies. As I said, I mean, this is very early days. We wrote that originally for ourselves to be able to provide liquidity for gens and gens X, and then felt it would be a very good thing to open source it. I mean, we believe in open source and sourcing as much as we can. But I mean, it's early days, and we take it very seriously to try to make that as easy to use as possible. So you can expect like continuous improvements in that regard. Let me just see whether okay, great. Error, or that's okay, probably good.
Yeah,
Sure why it
exit
says,
success is a good error.
oh yeah, it's a good error. Right. Let's check the order book. Okay, so now we are back to the original 6 ones that were there before we started. So this cancel also worked and was reasonably fast. Right, so that's in principle it. So at the moment, as I said, I mean, the easiest probably to get one up and running is with Docker Compose. And by just configuring the config file, I mean, you can configure which token to use and play with parameters. But I suppose if you want to have a serious edge, then you would need to modify the strategy. I mean, this is just the very first one we came up with, very simple, just spread like equidistantly distributed around the market price and do whatever you like. I just saw there's this prices module, which somewhere will use the Maestro SDK to actually get the price. Not sure where. Somewhere here. And as I said, so that was just the easiest for us to get started because we needed this price information and the Maestro SDK was available. But it would be a quite easy exercise to replace this with something else. Naively, for example, you could, I mean, there are places like CoinMarketCap, for example, where you can, I mean, in the HTML, in the browser, you can look prices. And I mean, of course, it's relatively easy to write something like a web, not crawler, I don't know what the right word is, but that just goes to this HTML part and somehow passes the price. Then you wouldn't need to pay for this Maestro subscription to get the price information. So as I said, there was no deeper reason that we used Maestro. It was just for us the easiest to get started. So especially now that we have open sourced the market maker as well, I think you can expect in future that, I mean, it will be more modular, that probably people will provide their own price providers as well. So I think that's as far as what I wanted to present. I don't know, Sourabh, Attila, do you want to add something? Otherwise, we can open it to questions.
I would have one thing I wanted to mention. From the community, we got the feedback that the configuration of the fixed price strategy is not really straightforward. I think it would be useful if you could just go through quickly the configuration settings so people could easily understand what they can control with these. The
Yeah.
strategy config part, I mean.
Yes, that's a
maybe
good
I
idea.
can.
Unfortunately, I'm not like ideal to explain that, but maybe Sourabh or Attila, if you know what all this means, then please
Yes,
do
maybe I can
explain.
help with it. If you could
Mhm.
scroll a bit above. All right, so Lars explained pretty well about this MVC underscore user till MVC underscore delay. So till line number 15, I think it's pretty intuitive and straightforward. And for this price config, so MVC, which is for market maker bot config. So for this, to provide the price feed, we provide the Maestro API key, and Lars explained that why we need Maestro. Even though we have given a configuration for Atlas to communicate with the blockchain, we need a price feed. And for that, we are using Maestro here. Resolution, Maestro has this endpoint, open, high, low, close, OHLC as short, which gives us the, basically for this 15-minute resolution, it will see what is the opening trade, closing trade, highest price, and the lowest price. And we are using the closing trades price in our here market maker bot. And if you want to be at the very edge of the price feed, you can make it, you can reduce it from 15 minutes to say 1 minute. And for the network ID, yes, you can give either for the mainnet or the pre-prod and other test networks that we have. Then for the DEX, there are two DEX providers which the Maestro endpoint currently supports, Genius Yield and the MinSwap. One thing, if you're using this MinSwap, since it is a slightly different model, like AMM type, the price cannot be so easily changed. One will need to put more liquidity to change the price. So in this case, you're a bit safer with your resolution if you reduce it. And now regarding this price config override setting, this is only needed if you're running the bot like we do now in testnet. If it was to be run in the mainnet, we will not be giving this override setting. Basically, what this override does, as in our currently going workshop, we have the CRU token, but we wanted the price of the gens token. Due to this reason, we gave this override setting that you override the token which I have given with this pair, ADA gens, and this other thing is to tell which of these two is commodity. So ADA is not the commodity, gens is the commodity. So that is why we're saying that the first token, which is in this pair, ADA, is not a commodity, so false here. So this was about the price config, and then maybe we can go with the strategy. Right. So let me just see if there are any questions. Okay. All right. So regarding the first setting, the spread. So we got this market price. Now we want to place orders, sell orders above this market price and buy orders below this market price. When I say sell order, I mean selling the commodity. When I say buy order, I mean buying the commodity. So in this case, the spread is set to be 1%. That means if I have the baseline market price, I will add 1% to it, and that will be my sell orders price, and subtract 1%, that will be my buy orders price. And we do it in steps of spread by 2. So initial sell order would be at 1% higher, but the second sell order would be not 2%, but 1.5%. So we divide this by 2. So it was initially 1, then it was 0.5. So 1, 1.5, 2, and 2.5, like that. So that is how this spread setting is. And similarly for these buy orders, it will be minus 1%, then minus 1.5%, minus 2%, and so on. This is also a bit more elaborated in our README. So in case it's not clear, it will be clear there. And then we have this token volumes. So when I'm placing a sell order, in this case, I was selling the CRU token, then I want to specify when this order is being created, what should be the minimum offer amount. So say I want to say 100 gens, 100 CRU. Basically, we are using gens as a proxy of, we are using CRU tokens as a proxy of gens token here in our pre-prod because the testnet tokens don't really have prices. So for 100 CRU tokens, if this TV underscore sell underscore minimum volume is 100 CRU with the 6 decimals, that means these sell orders, if they were to be created, they would offer at least 100 CRU. So this is this setting, like what should be the minimum baseline offer for your order. Likewise, for this buy min volume, if it is a 200 ADA here, that would mean the buy orders would at least offer 200 ADA. Now it might
in the moment,
that,
sorry, it's 1,000 and 2,000. So at the moment, with these values, it would be at least 1,000 ADA and 2,000, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Thank you
go
for
ahead,
that,
sorry.
Lars. And so if it is like 2,000, so minimum buy orders will offer at least 2,000 ADA. And now it might very well happen that over time, these orders will shrink because they are getting filled and so on. So you might very well see orders which are less than this, what you have specified in your configuration, but that is only because that they got filled down the line. So that was about these two fields. And then we have the sell budget field. So this is basically telling how much total you want to commit in your order. So if it is, for simplicity, let's say it is 350 CRU tokens, that means across all your sell orders, the total sum would be 350 CRU. So this is what this sell budget is saying. And then if suppose some of your orders got completely filled, then you will have some of this sell budget available to again place an order, and then you will place it. But the minimum should be what this first field is saying, that TV_sell_minimum minimum volume. So that is how it works. And at the very beginning, suppose it is saying that the sell budget is 350 CRU and the minimum volume is 100 CRU. So we do 350 divided by 100, that is 3.5. We floor it down. So that means we will place 3 orders, and each order would offer would offer 350 by 3. We take the floor again. So that is how we got these sell order amounts, which we saw in the log before, and also in our testnet UI. So these were about these 4 fields. And then we have volume threshold. I personally don't think that you would need to touch these, in the sense that you can set it to very high value. Basically, you can set it to the tokens max amount minted, and then forget about these. We had these because these 2 parameters, the sell_volume_threshold and similarly buy vol threshold, governs that if there are already many existing orders in the order book, then you will not place orders. This was the idea, that suppose Genius Yield is running the market maker bot, and if it sees that there are already dense liquidity is already present, then it need not place orders. So this was the idea here. The way it works is that from the market price, we have this slightly below this SC_price_check_product param. So, and we also initially gave these spreads, right? So we multiply this spread by this product, which is 9 here. So 1% into 9, 9%. And then we have this market price. So 9% above market price and 9% below market price. We will see all the orders which exist within this window. And now we have this sell volume threshold. If what all these sell orders within this price window are offering is greater than or equal to this volume threshold, then we will not place our own sell orders. So that is the idea here. But I would assume that you will always like to place maybe your sell orders, even if there is volume. So in this case, you can set these two as quite high. So for the ADA, you can set it to 45 billion. And similarly for your sell token, you can set it quite high. So these were about these fields. And then lastly, we have this cancel threshold product. And it is essentially saying, so here it is 4. So we multiply this 4 by the spread, which will give us 4%. And if, like, when you were placing the sell order, you were placing it, say, at the market price plus 1%. So that was your initial sell order price. But now suppose that the price has drifted lower, very low. And now your sell order is sitting very high, but the actual market price is very low. So it won't be the case that your sell order would be triggered likely, right? You need to push your sell order back down. Down to get closer to this new market price. So this is what this cancel threshold product is saying, that from this new market price, if your sell order's price is outside this new market price plus 4%, then it will cancel your sell order and place a newer one. So I think these cover all these params. And lastly, we have the token. So you specify your commodity token and you specify the precision. So in this case, the precision was 6. So yeah, that was I think. And if there are any questions related to these params, I would be happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Sourabh. It was very good
Thank
that you summarized this, because this was a common feedback that it was not really clear in the README. Just to recap, so the min wall is pretty much controlling the minimal order size. The budget is pretty much the sum of the all open orders that we place with the market maker. So when it's reached, it's stopping. And there is this extra mechanism that we didn't really use, but the idea is that we can stop the market making if there is enough liquidity in a specified spread, right? That's the volume threshold.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, thank you very much, Sourabh and Attila. So do we have any questions?
No, currently there are no questions, but this is a good time to ask if our listeners or participants have any. You have this Q&A box below, so feel free to use it. Okay. I don't see any questions, so I think we can wrap it up.
Okay. And of course, this will be available on YouTube, right? The recording of this.
Yes, that's correct. We're going just to slightly edit it. I mean, cut the unnecessary beginning and probably the end. And we'll publish this probably tomorrow on our YouTube channel and our social media. Oh, just 1 second. We have one question.
Yes,
Okay,
I see
question
it.
from Eric. You see it, okay.
In terms of profitability of running bots, it is the spread percentage you set in the param, right? Trying to estimate earnings. Yes, but as I said before, I mean, there's like a trade-off here, right? If the spread is high, I mean, if you get people to fill both your sell and buy orders, then the higher the spread, the better, of course, because I mean, the difference basically is your profit. On the other hand, if it's too high, then nobody will fill it, because then there are probably, I mean, either people don't bother or there are better offers closer to the market price. So it's a trade-off. I mean, the smaller you make it, the higher the probability that people will actually interact with your orders and fill them, but the lower your profit, because the spread is lower. If you make it higher, probability that people will fill it is lower, but if they fill it, your profit is higher. So obviously somewhere there must be a sweet spot. And also, if it's too small, then if the price changes, the risk, basically your spread is, I mean, the market price moves out of this window, you have to cancel is higher. So it's like, I mean, I don't know what the optimal values are, but that's exactly the art of market making. But yes, in principle, it's this. We have another question. Is there a way to have a custom price feed instead of using Maestro? Yes, as I said, I mean, if you know Haskell, then you can just rip out this. I mean, it's in this. Sorry, I always hate Zoom. It's always getting in my way. So I mean, this is done in this prices module, and somewhere here it uses Maestro stuff, but it's just an IO action. That I'm not sure whether this is exactly the right function, but
yeah, it is slightly below.
below.
If you scroll down, even more. Yeah, even more. Yeah, this one, get master price.
This gets Maestro price. So if you replace this function with whatever logic you like, then yes. So it's, I mean, if you know Haskell, then it's easy to replace. But I do think that we should probably, I mean, as I said before, I mean, it was like our DEX was launching, we needed liquidity, so we did what was easiest for us. But I think as soon as we have time, we should maybe make this a bit more modular and offer other implementations, like also whatever, just to show that how to swap them. So ideally, that would be this sort of an interface, and it's easy to swap other ones in. I mean, right now, if you want to change it, you have to change this code and do something else here. But it's certainly possible. There's no link. I mean, there's nothing specific to Maestro that we need for this. We just need the price from somewhere. So you could even have like, I mean, it's stupid, but you could have like it interactive that every 2 minutes the bot asks you in the console to enter the price by hand. I mean, whatever. I mean, just an IO action. So somewhere this function must get the price, and probably it also shouldn't be called get Maestro price. It should just be called get price. But whatever. Yes, so it's certainly possible. It's maybe a bit inconvenient at the moment, but it's certainly possible. Let me see. Another question. How can you estimate or determine if you are making profit or loss while market making compared to just holding the coins? Well, I mean, there are in the log file we saw there are these. I mean, there's money. I mean, it's not completely straightforward. I mean, first of all, you have money in the bot wallet, and you have money in open orders, and that money comes in two flavors. I mean, ADA and the token. So somehow you have like these 4 values depending on how you count. And then in the open orders, I mean, our DEX works in a way that if there are partial fills, the owner of the order doesn't get the money immediately. It stays with the order, and only when there's a complete fill or when the order is canceled, the payments happen. So it's actually even a bit more complicated. So in open order, there's like still open offered amount that can be filled, and there's partial payments already that won't change anymore, that eventually the bot will get. And everything comes in ADA and the token. So somehow you must, I mean, take this information, which is in principle locked, and then determine how that works over time. And as I said, I have been working on a tool for us to actually to actually make that easier, but that is still a bit raw. But let me. I'm not sure I should share that. But it's a bit embarrassing because I'm not a web developer, so you should polish that first. But in principle, it's relatively easy. I mean, you must just track these figures over time, right? I mean, the bot always reports how much is in the wallet in both tokens, how much is in open orders, and you need some nice monitor way that you could, of course, write yourself, or hopefully we can also provide something that makes it easier to track over time how the bot is doing, how much, I mean, how much ADA it has, how much token it has in the wallet in open orders, and how that develops over time. In principle, it's an easy thing to do. I mean, just the blockchain explorer, I mean, you can check, but of course it's tedious and you don't want to do that by hand. So it would be nice to have some automatic tool, but we are on that to provide something like that. Okay, I think there are no more open questions. But of course, if anybody still has one, feel free to ask. Otherwise, I suppose we can wrap it up. And as I said several times now, I mean, it's a very high priority for us to make this as convenient as possible. So these are very early days, and we had Christmas and New Year, so we did what we could in the time available, but now we are working hard to make it more intuitive and easier, and provide better tooling and other price feeds and all of these things. So that's definitely on our radar. I mean, this workshop just basically was meant to give you like an early start or an early glimpse into what's possible and how it works. But you can expect it to be much more easy to use over time.
Yes, if there are no more questions, then feel free to share it on our social media channels, on Telegram or on Discord, and also under YouTube recording that's gonna be published soon, probably tomorrow, as I mentioned. So we'll be
right. And speaking of Discord, we have a dedicated channel for this, right? For market maker.
Yes. So either on general or on dedicated channel, either way, we'll make sure to pick it up and to answer. Okay, any last thoughts? Lars, Sourabh, Attila?
I just think it's very cool. I mean, it's admittedly maybe not as easy as pushing a button and providing liquidity on AMA DEX, but I think it's very exciting how much power you have and how much flexibility, and that you can really try to come up with interesting strategies and compete with others. So I think it has a lot of potential. It's admittedly a bit rough around the edges yet, but nevertheless, I think it has large potential. So I hope that people will feel inspired to run their own bots and come up with their own strategies.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Lars, Sourabh, Attila. Thank you for hosting this this workshop. Thank you everyone who joined the session. Keep following our social media channels, and as mentioned before, this workshop is being recorded, so it's going to be published on our YouTube channel very soon. And of course, we're also going to show it on our social media. So thanks again, and have a great rest of the day, morning or evening. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.